Hello and welcome to the Simply Too Good kitchen. That's right, we're back at headquarters and I'm ready to cook for you today because that's right, it's Thursday with Annette. So thank you for joining me today. I've got my Mexican on and we've been doing Mexican all week, and the recipe for today is chicken enchiladas. Now it's out of book 5 and there is the recipe. Now book 5 is fantastic because if I just go to the front of the book, you'll see that you get a 28-day weight loss menu plan there. I know, it's fabulous. There's also one in book 6, but I just wondered if you knew about that with book 5. Now I've got the old version, so here is the new updated version, and this was the older version of book 5. You can see there's a difference, like these have the nice binding on the side where these are stapled, a little bit more modern, a bit fabulous, same recipes, but there was a lot of discontinued things in the cookbooks. That's why I updated. So I'm going to tell you about a discontinued product that's actually in that recipe if you've got this old book. So we'll get to that in a minute. So let's look at the winners from last Thursday's Wine Trifle. Yes, we have 3 fabulous winners, and we've got Leanne Mayer, Yvonne Jackson and Colleen Duggan. They've all won a copy of book 1, or they can choose Cooking for 1 or 2 because it's in both. Anyway, so book 5 today is what's on the winner list, and I've got all my recipe ingredients ready to go. So what do we need? Okay, preheat your oven to 180 degrees fan forced because this enchiladas go in the oven. I've got an onion, I've got some tomato, garlic, chicken. I've already pre-diced the chicken just to save a bit of time, and it's just small dice. You don't want big chunks of chicken in the enchiladas. You want a green capsicum because I'm looking at colours here, so that's nice. We want the cooking spray. I'm going to use the rice brand because I'm using my fabulous Nia Flam wok. You need the chicken stock powder. I use the low salt, which is the Marcel. You want some low-fat cheese, about 75 grams will do it, or 3/4 cup freshly grated. I've also got some chilli, some cumin and some ground coriander, but the ingredients that I want to mention is this one. Okay, let's go to the recipe. In the old version, there's the old picture. You can see we updated the pictures and they look just a little bit more fizzy fabulous. In here it tells you that you use a 300-gram jar of spicy bean salsa. It's discontinued. That's right. Thank you. They do it to me all the time. So this is what we're going to replace it with. So this is in the new version, it's already in there. It's Mexi beans, Old El Paso Mexican beans, Mexi beans. And I'll show you how we make it work because, you know, I had to really think about it because it was a different sort of product to just what the beans are. But I worked it out and the recipe is fabulous. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to chop up first is the capsicum. Now we need a cup. So let's get my little Nia Flam knife out. We want diced, and once again, I wouldn't make it too big because it's got to go in the enchiladas, which I didn't mention. Hello, they're a little bit important. Here we go. This is the enchiladas we're going to use, the tortillas. Now, in the old book and in the new book, it says Diego, but they've been bought out by Mission, so now they have the Mission brand on them. They're exactly the same. You get 12 in a pack, tortillas, white corn. They're gluten-free. They're the perfect size for this recipe. And if you wanted to know what one sheet is, what one tortilla is, it's 26 grams. So you can compare it if you can't find it. But I mean, they're in Coles and Woolies. Okay, so let's start cooking. Hello. Thanks for joining me today. If you've just come in, I'm chopping up some capsicum because we're making Mexican today. That's right, it's the chicken enchiladas. Now, I mean, you could go and buy these at the supermarket or whatever, pre-done, you know, the chicken shops or whatever, but they're really high in fat. Like one of them would be about 20 grams of fat, whereas, no, mine are much lower in fat. And so we are winning. And I just love that you can actually make homemade food that you would normally think you'd have to buy. You don't have to eat out anymore, and a lot of us can't eat out at the moment. and it's a bit hard to get out and about, so you can have a Mexican night at home. So, chicken enchiladas. Now, of course, on Tuesday, if you missed the show, I did Mexican dip and I was on location. Yes, we were away for Billy's birthday, and he thanks everybody for your birthday wishes. He was very spoiled, that's for sure, and he deserved it because he's fabulous. But he was very grateful for all your lovely birthday wishes. How are we going here? Just that little bit more and we'll have a cup. There we go. Now we're going to chop up the capsicum and then we'll chop up the onion. All right, so where can I put this? Let's take this out. And I'm going to put it in the bowl because we'll put the capsicum and the onion in together. Basically, we just chop up, chuck in the pot, cook it. You know, hello, that's how I roll. All right, so let's do the onion. And we're going to dice, but I want finely diced because, once again, we don't want big chunks of onion in the mix. And I don't know about you guys, but I really do love Mexican. But I love making it at home because, you know, it's more expensive to eat out for a start. But it's not so easy to go out at the moment, and I kind of feel like I like to cook at home. And so we're going to Italy on Tuesday with a pasta recipe. So we are totally international here at Simply Too Good. That's right. All right, so there we go. Let's chop that onion up a little bit finer. Let's put it in with the capsicum because they'll go in together. Here we are. And then we've just got to do a cup of tomato, and we just want dice. So I'm just going to take that middle bit out. And it's fresh tomato, not canned. Okay. I might just keep using this knife. And we're going to dice. Thanks for joining me today. If you're just tuning in, hello, welcome. We are making chicken enchiladas from cooking book number 5. And the actual tortillas are gluten-free. So for anyone that's looking for gluten-free, this is the tortilla. Because sometimes you'll think, well, it's corn, but you've got to check the ingredients because often it can have wheat in it. Yes. Wheat flour is what they normally list. So look for that in the ingredient list. All right, so now as I said, I've chopped up my chicken ahead just to save a bit of time. You know how to chop chicken breast, so it was skinless chicken breast, remember? Very important. We don't want the thigh or the skin. Perfect. All right, so I'm done with my chopping board. Let's get it out of the way and we'll bring the wok in. I've got my soapy sink here ready to throw things in as I go. And now let's turn the heat on and make some magic. That's right, it's a chicken enchiladas. I'd love to do a Mexican accent, but I'd embarrass myself. Bit of the spray, and that's the rice brand I like to use with an air flan because that's what you use on the good quality non-stick cookware. I'm going to get that to start heating, but first we'll put in a teaspoon of crushed garlic. Now you can use fresh, you know I say this every time. I just like quick and easy, thank you, done. And that's how I roll. But you of course can put in the fresh. Here's our little chicken cubes that we've just diced that up. I can hear a sizzle, so that's what I want. Just slowly put the chicken pieces in so it keeps that heat in the pan. And all we have to do is just brown the chicken off with the garlic. And then we'll start adding the other ingredients in. It's a really easy recipe. Don't be frightened about it thinking, oh, that sounds a bit complicated. Nothing's complicated when it's simply too good to be true. All right, so I'm going to wash my hands. And I always do wash my hands before I start cooking, but on Tuesdays I actually do it with you. And That's always good because we cook together. That's right, if you haven't tuned into a Tuesday show, you're missing out because it's Home Ec with Annette. You can download the week's recipe from the website, buy the ingredients and cook it with me. How much fun is that? All right, so now I'm just going to move this over. Let's toss that chicken in with the garlic. We just need to brown off the chicken. And now I'm going to show you what you do. So we've got the ingredients over here. And you microwave the tortilla sheets, and I'll show you how to do that shortly. But we're going to, now with this bean mix, what you do is you take the lid off, and I want you to put all the ingredients into a deep bowl because we're going to zhuzh it because it needs to become like a paste, which is what the bean salsa was before they discontinued it. Yes, that's right. All right, so we're going to zhuzh it. Now you can use either a food processor or a stick blender, and I'm using a stick blender today because it's easy. But while that's happening, it's ready to go in. Let's put in the onion and the capsicum. There we go. And we'll just cook that for a couple of minutes. Fantastic. So while that's going, I'm just going to move that over a little bit. I've got my little old brawn. It's so old, look at it, it's a bit discoloured, but I tell you, it still works fabulous because the old things really were made to last, weren't they? So what you do is you'll just get in and blend it. You need it to be a deep bowl because it can splatter a little bit. It doesn't take long, as you can see. It's blending up really quickly. And we're done. Now this actually makes a really good dip as well. All right, so I'll take that off, put that in my soapy sink, and it's ready. So there it is, and that's what it used to be. It used to be like that sort of mix in the old recipe, but now you know, so we're good. Okay, let's bring it over. Remember, your ovens needs to be preheated to 180 degrees fan forced. Now, if you wanted to make different variations, of course you know I've got you covered. You could make the chicken, and you get 2 each, so you make 12 in total. And so for the chicken, it's 10.3 grams of fat, and the rump is 12.7, and the tofu for the vegetarians is 13.8. Now, as I said, the traditional one, where you just buy one, would be at least 20 grams of fat. So we are getting double pleasure. That's right. So now we've cooked this around, mixing it in, and this is where we chuck everything in. That's right, it all goes in. So let's put in the tomato, except of course the tortillas and the cheese, okay? That's not what's in it. So let's put the tomatoes, mix them in, and this is where you're going to get those beautiful vibrant colours that go in the mix. Now let's put in the stock powder. We want 2 teaspoons of the chicken. Now if you're doing the rump, you would use beef, and if you're doing the tofu, then you would use vegetable stock. I like the macel. We're going to put 1/8 of a teaspoon of chili in because I just want a little kick. If you just love your chili, you might like to put 1/4 in, but I'm just doing a little hint because there's a little bit of heat in the Mexi beans as well. Now we're going to do a teaspoon of cumin. And these are very sort of Mexican flavours. Teaspoon, and also a teaspoon of ground coriander, or cilantro in America. Sorry? Oh, it's the coriander seeds, Bill said. So on here it says coriander seeds. Okay, they're all in. Let's just give it a toss, because we know we like to be tossers, don't we? We're nearly done. I know, that's how easy this recipe is. It's suitable to be frozen as well. So if you're making a big batch, you can always put them in individual serves in a freezer bag, whatever, in a container, and then just pop them out for an easy dinner with a big bowl of salad. Yum! All right, so in goes the bean mix. That's all going in. And that will give you a really beautiful sort of Mexican-y sauce, you know. Okay, so mixing that in. There we go. So here is your mix, your enchilada mix. All right, so now in the recipe it tells you to cook it up for a little bit, you know, bring it to the boil and then reduce it down a little bit, just to allow the sauce to thicken. So while that's doing that, let's get our tortilla sheets ready. So now open your bag and throw out the little plastic thing. We don't want that. And then get some paper towel, and it tells you how to do this on the back of the packet, all right? And then what you do, let me get that other piece around, you wrap it in the microwave for 40 seconds, and that will heat them enough so that you can work with them. Otherwise they break up. Okay, 40 seconds, there we go. All right, so remember it's the mission now, it's not the Diego. Let's get the spray. Now on the show today, I'm just going to show you how to do 6. I've got another tray here to do the next 6. And what I'll do, because it just takes a while, I'll post the picture up of all of them done in the comments so you can see how it looks. This is looking a bit gorgeous. Okay, so let's move this out of the way and we can start creating magic. That's right. Here we go. Now there's the cheese, and that's enough, just a little sprinkle on the top for 12. You get 12 tortillas. Okay. All right, so now what you do is you get, I'll just put it over here. You get a wrap, and I'm just going to close that over. Here we are. Now, you would let this cook a little bit longer if I was at home, but because we're on the show, we're speeding forward, and I'm going to put a spoon of the mix into the tortilla. There we go. And then what you do is you wrap it around, putting the bottom as where the fold is. So let's do that again. As I said, I probably would have the juice a little bit, the sauce a little bit less runny, but we're just running ahead a little bit. Let's put a little bit more in there. And then once again, you just roll it up, put that flap down. If anything falls out, just shove it back in. So we're going to do 6, and then you can do, I'll do the other 6 after we've finished the show, so you can get on with your day. Wrap it, fold it over. There we go. In goes that little bit of chicken that got out. Now you remember you've got enough for 12 here. A little bit more. I mean, how fabulous is this? I mean, when you think about enchiladas done at such a low fat count, how amazing is that? Yes, I mean, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? Yes, we're doing it the Sym way. That's it. All right, so here we go again. So we've got 4. Roll it over and under. There we go. Let's do one more, and then I'll put some cheese on the top. There we go. I've made a bit of a mess here, but that's all right. Messy cooks are cooks that make cooking with love, because they don't worry about the mess. Now we get the cheese. Let me just I'm sure you would clean up much better than I would. There we go. Okay, so there's our 6, and we'll do another 6 after, and then you just put a sprinkle of cheese on the top. Remember, your oven is preheated to 180 degrees, fan forced. This is 3/4 of a cup or 75 grams. So I'm looking at using half the cheese here, and it'll melt and go golden brown on the top, and they're going to go in the oven now. I'm going to put the timer on for 20 minutes because it's about 20 to 25, and that way you can just decide when you look at it how brown and how the cheese is melted. So I've got my other 6 to go here with my tray. I'll do them shortly, but look, before we go, of course, you have to win this fabulous new book 5, especially if you've got the old one. So what do you got to do to win? It's like, share, and in the comments, you know what you got to do. It's hashtag Symply Too Good with a Y, not an I. So, you know, watch your spell check. Hashtag Symply Too Good. And I'll pick 3 fabulous people to win. Now, on next week's show, on Tuesday, we're going to Italy and we're making a fantastic favourite. It's the penne pasta and creamy bacon sauce. Super easy, super delicious. You can get the recipe on the website and buy the ingredients. Cook it with me on Tuesday. How fabulous. But what I would suggest is that you please make your pasta, boil your pasta, your penne pasta up before we start the show so you can actually finish it off with me. So please note that, and it'll be fabulous. Now, on next Thursday, I'm going back to Mexico. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm just a bit obsessed with Mexico right now. Maybe I'm just thinking of Cancun when I went there for my 60th. Oh. Okay, back to the show. All right, so what I'm making is a new recipe that's out of Cooking for One or Two, and it's the Mexican meatloaf, because I'm sorry, if you think meatloaf is boring, you haven't tried my Mexican meatloaf. Thank you very much. Only makes it for 2. It's fabulous. Now, before we finish up, don't forget to go to the website, simplytoogood.com.au. That's where you'll get the recipe for Tuesday's home ec with Annette, but you'll also find a deal happening with the NeoFlam. So we've got the fry pan set and the wok, and at the moment you can get with those half price glass lids, and it really is fantastic to have that option for both of them, the fry pan, the 24-28 centimetre, or the big wok. And of course, you'll see on the website the cookbooks, the shakes, it's all happening there at simplytoogood.com.au. So there we go, there's another show, it's a wrap. Thanks for joining me, and as I said, I'll continue on here and I'll put the picture up after the show. So thanks for joining me, and you have an awesome day. Bye now.